Sports all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. Sport all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports all plays.
And welcome everybody to Fast Break. We are going to hit the ground running as the Golden State Warriors are down 14 at halftime to the Dallas Mavericks. So big turnaround from game one. Steph, if it wasn't for him, this game would be a blowout. So he's trying to keep Golden State in, but Luka and Dallas set a team record for 3.5. So them boys on fire right now. The Warriors, they're due for one of these games where they just don't play well. Outside of Wiggins and Curry, it's been pretty bad for them. But glad to have you guys on. How y'all feeling? Mike Con, man, I ain't seen you in a while. What's been going on with you, man?
Hey, I'm doing well, my brother. Good to be back here with y'all.
Yes, indeed. It's always better when the con man's in the building. Marcus, what's going on with you, sir?
Oh, man. Great weekend. Basketball is off the chain, baby. I love it. I love it.
Absolutely. We're definitely glad to have you, gentlemen, while we got this playoff game going. But we got some stuff to get into. And sadly, very, very sad to report that Chris Robinson will not be here tonight to defend his ridiculous takes in relation to Chris Paul. And just because he's not here does not mean that I am taking the high road. Chris, wherever you are hiding, I just want you to know that I am thinking about you. But no, hopefully everything is well. He had a prior engagement. But fellas, you know, we've talked about a number of different things here with the NBA, but we are now in the conference finals round. So, Con, what have been your thoughts on these playoffs? What are some of the takeaways?
Well, you know, to me, I think so far, especially in the conference finals, what you're seeing is teams are making adjustments. You know, it seems from game one to game two, seems like Miami Heat, the first game, even though they had a bad first half, they came back strong in the second half and kind of blew out the Celtics. Celtics made their adjustment, plus Horford and Marcus Smart coming back. They made their adjustments. And it seems the same way it's going now with Golden State. Golden State came out, blowing them out the first game. Seems like Dallas is on the road right now. I was telling y'all about Brunson a long time ago. My boy Brunson's going to get paid this year. But that's my biggest take so far, that teams make adjustments. It's about playing chess. You know, about doing your homework, looking at film, making the necessary adjustments, and you go from there.
Absolutely. Marcus, what have been some of your takeaways from the playoffs so far?
I can tell you right now that my Sixers losing in the second round is one of my biggest takeaways. So I feel as though Miami is a fraud.
Oh.
And we pretty much spied them 2 games in the beginning with Embiid not playing. And the simple fact that we still won 2 with the way Embiid with a broken face and a broken thumb, that just let me know Miami's a fraud. And as far as the conference finals goes right now, I gotta say I see the Celtics win the next 3. So this is about to be a sweep the opposite way, which is going to be funny. And then I actually see Dallas winning in 6.
Ooh.
So I had to get that out the way right now because I don't know what they did to Luka last game, but he did look like himself. And unfortunately, I had the chance to watch the game tonight. But I just had a feeling Luka was going to come out fire and Dallas was going to make the adjustments. So I don't think Jason Kidd or Udoka is getting the credit that they deserve as far as coaching goes right now. Like, they putting on coaching clinics. Like, they make adjustments from game to game. And these boys, they be coming out firing. Like, from Boston hitting, 9 threes in a row the other game.
Yeah.
Dallas, you saying, knocking down threes, the most threes in the half. that's ridiculous.
For sure, definitely for sure on that. But no, I think it's been a good playoffs. I didn't really know what to expect. There was a lot of different teams with the play-in tournament. Some teams snuck in. By and large, the better teams have won, but Boston's been looking great. Phoenix went out unceremoniously in an utter disaster of a second round loss. And we've seen great individual performances. Jimmy Butler, Luka. Tonight, Steph is playing well. To Common's credit, Brunson has been huge. And tonight he's having another huge game. Got 20 at the half. Luka got 24 at the half. Bullock with 13 at the half. So the key is, can they keep it up? Finney Smith's at 3 or 4. Reggie Bullock's at 4 or 5 from 3. Brunson's 4 or 5 from 3. Luka's 3 or 5 from 3. So they're shooting 55% from 3. Granted, the Warriors are shooting it at 53, but much less. 8 to 5, the Mavs almost have double the threes. So it's been, to their point, a bunch of adjustments that people are making. Marcus, you was going to say something?
Yeah, so here's the thing when it comes to that. Like, you just got done talking about adjustments. My thing is, when you play team basketball around your superstars, so the good thing about Luka, he's young. So now if you got his others playing like Shaq would say, they're going to be hard to beat because you can't really do nothing with Luka. And then if they're making threes and then Luka gets loose, it's like Dallas is like an underrated team right now as far as how they playing. And I feel the same way with like Miami. Like if Jimmy Butler learns how to use his other players better, then maybe Miami might have a chance with the Celtics. But then again, Celtics has more depth to me and firepower than Miami does outside of Butler and then Tyler Hero.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of a situation where how do I want to say it? I mean, I just think it's a situation where they're just not deep enough in these big moments. And I think you're seeing that with Miami, so I definitely agree with that.
And you know something too, fellas? The thing about the Miami-Boston series is the fact that Boston has way more scorers than Miami. Miami, they got Butler. Hero comes on now and then. You don't know what my boy Strauss is going to be doing. And Bam's not really a volume scorer. Whereas the Celtics, you got Brown, you got Tatum. Horford can hit some shots. They got, a lot of weapons that Miami doesn't have. And I think that's a big factor and reason why the Celtics probably are going to win that series. Miami, man, they can't just depend on, my boy there. He's going to need some help. And I don't know if Hero's going to be able to do it. Hopefully he can, but I don't know. I don't see them having. They need offensive power, and they need to hit the perimeter shot. They got Duncan Robinson playing 35 seconds a game. So, I mean, they need something to come back to help them out as far as, being crucial to them having a chance against the Celtics.
Yeah, I agree with you in that sense. So it sounds like y'all, Miami, well, we know how Marcus feel, but Common, you agree? Miami's dead? Miami's dead? It's over?
I don't think so.
So you got Miami winning the series, or you just got?
When I'm thinking, something, fellas. Prior to the playoffs beginning, I said y'all better not sleep on Miami, but I think they have a puncher's chance. Like again, they're going to have to step up big. You got 2 undrafted players starting in the backcourt. Think about that. Very little experience. I know Strauss very well. He played at DePaul. I know him very well. And you got a lot of guys who they're not as experienced, where the Celtics have a lot of guys who have major experience. So I think that's going to play a major factor. Then you got that X factor. You got Marcus Smart, who's like the thug on the team, but he gets everybody rolling and he does his thing and he gets them motivated. And I'm going to go with the Celtics, even though y'all know I don't like them. I'm going to go with the Celtics in that series, but hopefully Miami can be competitive.
Yeah, see, that's the thing with that, because I feel as though if the Celtics don't put these boys out within 6 games, it's going to be a whole new Phoenix situation again. When
Could
Phoenix
be.
when they played around with Dallas, and then they got punched in the mouth that last game, and the game 7 at that. So they can't play around with these boys because Miami could put together a hot streak like they did against my Sixers. Like Strauss was shooting threes, Butler making threes, Hero coming in, getting to the rim, hitting threes. It's like Bam just has an unbelievable game. Like I don't know what it is. Maybe it's my Sixers when they play them, but I like if Celtics don't knock these boys out within 6, they don't want to see Miami in the game 7.
And Celtics play very well at home too. That's another factor as well. So.
Oh, and back to your point, Ray. If Dallas is playing this well right now on the road, imagine what they're going to do at home when the role players actually really do step up. So
the object is to take one. Let's get one. Right? Object is to get one of them games, them first 2. You know what I mean? So Celtics did it, and looks like Dallas is going to do it.
And I said this last night on Real Talk that this is the Warriors though. They'll give you these games where they're sloppy with the ball. Draymond got a bunch of turnovers. He got technical fouls. He should be out the game. The way he's acting, he's out of control, and they should have thrown him out early on. He's not playing smart. Steph, I said it to be as soon as he did in a game. Superstars don't take fouls. There's no reason for you to take a foul on a fast break, and you're Steph Curry. Like it's 2 points, maybe 3. That foul is huge, and now he has 3. Draymond got 3. They're not playing defense without fouling. They're not rebounding well. They're not playing great defense. Like this is just the Warriors. They do this, and for what it's worth, Dallas is taking advantage. They're giving them open shots, and they're shooting them at an amazing clip. And we saw in the first game they was getting open shots, they just couldn't hit them. And the Warriors got comfortable because they blew them out, and now Dallas is hitting them tonight, and the Warriors are scrambling. So we all know how the Warriors come out in the third quarter, so we'll see if there's some of that going on. But I agree. We might very well have 2-1-1 series, and we've seen what Dallas did at home. Phoenix got them early in Phoenix, but Phoenix had a whole different ball game going to Dallas. So you can't allow Dallas to have 3 scores scoring 20 or 30. Like that's ridiculous.
And also, you got to take into consideration, again, as I was talking about adjustments being made. The first game, if you all notice, they were doing a lot of pick and rolls for Luka. If you notice right now, what they're doing, they're not doing the pick and rolls. He's just going isolation on whoever comes on him now. Whereas before he was doing the pick and roll, they were switching properly. Now, what they're doing is, again, that was the adjustment that Jason Kidd made. He said, okay, they can switch on our pick and roll, so we're not going to pick and roll. We're going to let you go do your thing, and you're going to see now what adjustments does Kerr make now to counteract that. That's the key.
See, Kyle, I'm glad you said that because when they do that, they don't have nobody that can guard Luka.
Exactly.
Do that. So with ISO ball, Luka can take advantage of Steph. He could take advantage of Clay, and he could take advantage of Draymond. Because he could just shoot over Draymond with no problem. He could back Clay down. He could back Steph down. No issues. Now, the thing is, when he start passing that ball, then they knock it down shots. Now that Luka sees that, now the lane opens up for Luka. And now that the 3-point shooters are making shots, now everything just starting to fall. So they can't switch on anything. So they have to stay ISO in a sense or go to zone. And they had great shots last time they played. They were just missing them. And that's the problem. So
even Charles Barkley said they had over 30 open 3-point shots they missed. Yeah. They had 30 wide open shots.
And to Ray's point, Golden State got sloppy. They get sloppy, but they took advantage of a young Memphis team, that's gotten to the second round. But Dallas been to the second round before. And they don't got these boys that just going to dance all over the court and stuff like that. So they're playing for something, actually. So Golden State can't play around with Dallas, or it's going to be Boston and Dallas like I predicted in one of the episodes.
And you know something too, fellas? If you look at it, Spencer Dinwiddie hasn't even scored yet. Cleveland hasn't even scored yet. So once they get going, it's going to be on.
So while we're talking about that, and Marcus, you kind of gave us your prediction. Con man, what is your prediction for this next round? How many games they going and who you got winning?
Which round you talking about? Which one? The specific one right now?
Yeah, either game, the East or West Conference.
All right, in the East, as I said before, you know, my original pick was the Heat. I thought they were playing at a high level. They won the conference just like they did the previous year as well. I think the Celtics are very deep. I think they're getting healthy as well. I'm going to roll with the Celtics. Now the West is going to be tough. You know, if Dallas comes to win, the object was to win at least one of them games. Now they go back home. We know how tough they are in Dallas. The crowd, you know how they're going. Most of the role players play a lot better when they're at home. I'm tough. But you know something? I'm also looking at the experience that the Warriors have. They've been there before. They done did that. You know, I think if it comes down to it, if you had to put me to a corner, I'm going to lean toward Golden State because they do have home court advantage. And the fact is they do have experience. And they got that guy. They got that guy who, you know, they always say he don't really play well in the finals. That guy may come through this time. Better watch out. Y'all know who I'm talking about.
We know. Wardell. And Marcus, what was your games prediction? I think you said Mavs and
yeah, it was. At first, I thought it was going to be if Phoenix didn't get the Mavs out in 5, I thought that was going to win in 7. And then I had Boston beating. No, I actually had Milwaukee beating Boston in 5, but they get them out of there. I had Boston winning in 7. And then I had Boston and Dallas in the finals, even before the conference finals even started. So I'm gonna stick with that. Boston and Dallas, and then I'm gonna have I hate to say it, but I'm gonna have Boston beating Dallas in 6 games for the championship.
Okay. I said this before. Boston has made me a believer. So I am going Boston. I think they're deeper. I think they're ready. The better by almost every metric, they're the better team. And I think it just comes down to horses at a certain point. And I've not been the biggest Bam fan for a long time, and he hasn't showed up in these playoffs. I don't know what he's doing, but I didn't care much for Ayton's play. They need to bench Bam as well, because he's not there. He's not engaged. He's not having a huge impact on offense, which is really where they need him right now. They need other consistent scorers, and now they're going on the road. They really gonna need him to step up, and I don't think he does that.
You know,
what's that?
Well, I was saying, you know, if you break it down, basketball 1-on-1, if Butler ain't playing up to par, what's going to happen to Miami? Now, if Brown or Tatum don't play up to par, who can come and take their spot or contribute in a good way? They got more players that they can rely on. If one of the 2 top scorers, one of them having a bad game, if Butler has a bad game, it's a wrap. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think it's more than that. I don't even think he can have just a good game. I think he has to be in that mid-30s, close to the 40-point range, just for them to be in the game. He can't score 25 and think they're going to win. They're going to get beat just like they just got beat. So I think they're in a tough spot in relation to that. But we do got to get into, obviously, there's been some winners and we've seen some losers. We had the Nets getting swept in the first round as the betting favorite to win the championship. The number 2 betting favorite to win a championship to start this year was the Los Angeles Lakers, who couldn't even get into the play-in tournament And just this past week, we had the record-setting Suns, who set the record for most wins in the season for them, going out in the second round to the Dallas Mavericks. So between the Nets, the Lakers, and the Suns, Marcus, who do you think was the biggest disappointment?
The Sixers.
You said the Sixers?
I did.
How? They had a injured Embiid for 2 games. They had washed James Harden.
Right.
Like they did about as good as you could expect.
So the way I look at it is the first round when we had Toronto, we should have got them boys up out of there in 4. But we played around with them, got them out in 6, which caused the injury to Embiid's face. Now, the stud might always been there. Phoenix, you would have to really believe in Phoenix in order to say they was going far, which I never did. Devin Booker might be a tad bit overrated. Chris Paul, they sang his praises, but he's overrated. And like I said before, like what is Ayton really doing out there? If Chris Paul ain't really setting them up like that, then he's not consistent with his scoring and his energy basically throughout the game. You know me, I'm not a Kyrie fan at all. He basically got overhyped from that one finals run. And when it comes to finals runs, I don't think that should dictate, if you're the best player in the world or if you're even that good of a player. Like Giannis. I'm not saying he's not a great player, but he's not the best player in the world off of one finals run. So I definitely didn't believe in the Nets, so I didn't really see that really being a disappointment to me. And then as far as the Lakers go, I didn't really see that being a disappointment either because you got a 37-year-old player in LeBron. You got Anthony Davis, who's always hurt or street clothes, as they call him. And then you got Russell Westbrook. Like, I ain't never seen that working to begin with. So, like, I was like those 3 teams. Like, no, there's nothing about them 3 teams that said to me that they was winning the NBA championship. So, no, the biggest disappointment to me is the Sixers that wasn't even mentioned.
Fair enough. Marcus, you always give it to us straight.
Yes.
I think, like I said, your expectations are your expectations, but I think the Sixers did about what you could expect with all that they dealt with. I don't care what you say or who was playing. 2 top 75 players shouldn't miss the play-in tournament. With or without AD, with or without Melo or whoever else, ain't no way. I don't care where they're in their career. Like, that's just flat out unacceptable to me. So, I'm gonna go Phoenix. They got there last year, and by all accounts, we expected them to get back or at least be in the Western Conference Finals, and they just flat out came up short. They lost to a team with 1 superstar, and they got blown out at home in a Game 7. And Chris Paul and them were mostly healthy. So I think for me that was the biggest disappointment. Just because, one, I jumped on the bandwagon. I was campaigning for Devin Booker to be MVP, Monty Williams Coach of the Year, Mikal Bridges to be Defensive Player of the Year, because I advocate and will always stand with winning. And for them to put on that performance throughout, just not good enough. The Nets, I didn't have as much for them just because they never got a real chance to gel. And the Lakers, although it is super disappointing, it's not terribly disappointing when you saw how they played. So yeah, that's kind of my take on that. Conman, did you get a chance to talk about your disappointment?
No, I'm ready to roll on this one.
Yeah, let's go. Let's get it.
You know how I roll. But getting back to my boy Marcus with Philly, again, Philadelphia, the whole situation that they went through, the Simmons fiasco and, James Harden, who knows his situation. I think Philadelphia had a lot to deal with. There was a lot of pressure on Doc as well. I think Philadelphia, if Embiid didn't get hurt the way he did, I think that they would have had a better opportunity. I think they would have played a lot better. Now, my only question to Marcus is, what's your take on Harden? How come he came out and shot only 2 times in the second half? That's all I want to know.
I mean, I was never a fan of getting Harden to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
I always said I'd have waited till the off season to pick him up, and that was just my take on it. So I thought they played better with what we had. I think giving up Seth and Andre Drummond really hurt us because you have to have a backup center when it comes to Embiid. You just have to. And I think that I would have just waited, like I said to begin with. And just like Miami, we really just one player, which was Embiid, and then everybody else you figure has to come along in order to win. But I thought in the East we had more than enough to win if Embiid stayed healthy. So that's my biggest disappointment, because we played around with Toronto in that first round, and we shouldn't have. And then at all accounts, we would have had to be from the first 2 games in Miami. We might have swept them boys.
Yeah, but Marcus, go ahead,
boss. Well, I was just saying, going back to where we talking about Philly, because of the expectations and because of the injuries, I don't feel that I expected them to really get out of the East. Now we're going to talk about the Nets. Total disarray, no control of the team, no organization, starts from the top. I really didn't expect anything happening with Kyrie, wherever his mind's at. World's flat, wherever his mind's at. I don't know what Kyrie you're going to get, who's going to show up. I think that played a pivotal reason why Harden left. I think that put a big burden on KD, and I think that's what hurt the Nets. So I really wasn't too much focused on them. Now, if you're going to go with the Lakers, again, too many injuries. AD can't play more than 55 games. LeBron missed 30-something games. AD missed, 50, whatever, how many games he missed. And they didn't really get much from the bench. Avery Bradley didn't give him the spot that he gave him when he was with the team prior to that. I think they by them getting rid of a couple of their guys from last year, that hurt them as well. They lost some good players that were more defensive minded. So I didn't expect the Lakers really to come through, but I'm going to agree with Ray, because Phoenix, they were there last year. They had the experience. They were playing fantastic. I think they went on stretch where they had 3 sets of 9 games in a row they won, something like that. They were on a roll, and they were relatively healthy. I just think they just ran into a buzzsaw. It seems like as soon as Chris Paul turned 37, his role went downhill. Now they said he had a torn thigh bruise or whatever he had that might have interfered with his play, but I don't know. Maybe it did or not. But to me, I had more high expectations of Phoenix myself as well. And Ayton, I don't know what they're going to do with him. He's up for a contract. You know what they're going to do now? They're going, come in my office. You run the contract, and they're going to hit him. Boom. He ain't going to get it. He may get it somewhere else, but I don't think he's going to get it at Phoenix.
See, I think Ray said it best when he said he jumped on the bandwagon in Phoenix.
I did. I believed in him.
I did too.
So
I believed in him. Monty and all them. Even though I can't stand Chris Paul. Real quick, I want to get to some of John's questions. I would sit Clay, not for a long time, but it looks like they started Clay and Poole in the second half, and they went away from what's his name? Looney. They look like they went away from Looney.
Yeah.
And they've got it down to 11, so I guess it's worked. Draymond just got his 5th foul.
Got his 5th. He'll be gone.
Like this is just dumb. This is just bad basketball. That's just bad basketball. I don't think the Bulls were much of a disappointment because they're the Bulls. Like I never really expected much. There were injuries as well, but DeRozan was never a real number one. Levine isn't a number two. Like Lonzo was out, so I didn't expect much from them. But Marcus, I do got to ask you, and I was waiting to ask you this. So you said you would have rather waited to get Harden, but you realize if you wait to get Harden, you probably have to pay him the max because you would have seen what you thought to have been a good player.
Not necessarily.
You think you would have watched him play in free agency, he would have took less than the max?
Yeah, because if he gave me that performance, now let's just say even with the Nets, with Kyrie being gone, their record wasn't particularly that well outside of the big three playing together. So even with that being said, if you just waited to the off season, and you see how the playoffs might have went, then maybe you give them the max. But then you can see what you have with the Sixers too. Like who do we keep? Who plays well here? Other spots. Because as you notice in the playoffs, our bench sucked. Like we had no production outside of nobody. Shake Milton might have had a few points here and there. Like you can't trust Korkmaz. You don't trust Niang. You can't play Reed all that much because he hasn't really had no playing time. So it's like you have to keep the piece that you have and have a better bench when it comes to playoff time. With Joel, you never know. Matter of fact, you don't know when he's going to be hurt. Basically, he's going to get hurt. So you have to have a drum in there. Then you have to have a 3-point shooter in Curry, to keep defensive honest and stuff like that. Like I would have just waited. I thought we were rolling better without Harden than we did with Harden.
Okay, Max, let me ask you a question now. As you know, Harden's up for an extension.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to take a pay cut. So what do you think they're going to do with? What do you think they're going to do with him?
No, he's going to take a pay cut because what he's showing, like if Daryl Morey is supposed to be the smart GM, and then you're a GM in Philadelphia, we're not going to go for that, So he's going to take a pay cut. They probably want to bring another player in, to go along with Harden and Embiid. Because now, for me, if Harden is going to be your point guard going forward, it's not going to get you the 30-point triple doubles and all that good stuff like he did in Houston. And if you want to go to that playmaker role, which I'm fine with, you have to bring in another scorer at this point. So I don't think he's going to get the max because you can't max him out at 32 years old. So that's a 5-year contract. It'd be like 37, making 40, 50 million a year. We're not going for that in Philadelphia.
So what's the alternative?
Now, the alternative would be if you could, we got draft picks. We have cap room in a sense. So we can go get a Bill. We can go after Levine. We develop Maxey. We don't trade him. We develop him because he could be the sixth man of the year.
Doc?
Huh?
Who's going to develop Maxey? Doc?
Well, Doc has proven that he could, that under Doc and B, and Maxey had their best years so far under Doc. So I'm giving credit on that. Like he doesn't have much to work with
as a point guard, though.
Yeah, I can see that happening because with Maxey, you can play him off the ball like you do with Harden, or you can play him on. So and plus he's like 21, I believe. So he still got room to develop. Maxey do even under Doc. So like at this point, if they keep Harden at a discount price, then they go make a trade or pick somebody free agent.
Discount.
So
that's Marcus. That's what you're looking for. I'm telling you, James Harden ain't gonna take a pay cut.
Well, who else going to pay him? They see how he played in the playoffs. We might as well just kept Ben Simmons if that's the case. So we see how we're not going to pay that man a max.
It's just like Westbrook. Lakers got to deal with Westbrook. Now they're talking about Chris Paul switching up him. Going with Lakers and switch up. Westbrook going to Phoenix.
Daryl Morey has proven that he's a good GM. He's not just going to make a trade for the sake of making a trade that doesn't make sense to fit that team. So we're not the Lakers. They don't know who they listen to.
Max Harden.
But Harden's not getting that max.
Maury's going to max Harden. He loves it.
He is. That's his boy.
He's not getting that max.
All right.
All right, we're going to see. We're going to see. John asked about a rumor for Harden for Westbrook. If I'm Philly, there's no way in the world to make that deal. Like, I think it'd be great for LA, but why the heck would Joel Embiid sign off on bringing in Russell Westbrook?
I don't think that's going to work. No, I don't think so.
Embiid is already a hard enough teammate. He ain't about to be sharing the sugar with Russ in his poor shooting habits. So, quick
So you
update.
got 3 guys right now. You got 3 guys right now. Well, we don't know, maybe almost 4. We got 3 guys right now. We don't know what the hell they're doing, and they're making max money. We got Harden, we got Westbrook, and we got that guy from the Houston Rockets. Who, what's he doing? And they got 2 first-round picks in the first round.
That's all Rockets' problems. I don't think when John Wall was playing with Washington before he got hurt, he was balling. Like him in the field, they was making work. Might have been first round exits, maybe second round, but they was balling. Now, when he got hurt and when he went to Houston, they decided not to play him once he got better. So that's kind of on Houston, But I think John Wall still got a lot left in the tank. I would take John Wall right now on the Sixers right now. Bring him off the bench, maybe to play with that second unit. Along with Max, whoever they're going to run it with. And then I go from there. Like I would go after John Wall if I was the Sixers.
Now let me ask you all a question, right? I want to get your answer on this one. You're gonna have to think a little bit on this one. We all have to think on this one.
I'm ready.
I know you are. I know Marcus is too. All right, check this out. I just told you 3 Stooges, right? You got the 3 Stooges, right? Then you got Simmons, right? That's 4. Now, with all the stuff that's going on with the NBA right now, as far as time management, load management, this, that, and the other, players not playing. Now, upcoming, it's probably going to be a lockout because once they get together, the collective bargaining unit, what they're going to do, the owner's going to be like this. Okay, look, we're going to pay you this. They're going to have a thing what they call pay for play, meaning they're going to do something in that contract. They're going to work out that contract where it's going to, what I'm saying, these players are going to mess things up for the future NBA players because of what they're doing now. The owners ain't going to stand for this. I'm paying you $40 million a year and you playing 35 games, 40 games. Think about it. The owners are going to get together. I'm telling you, they're going to get together on this collective bargaining agreement. They ain't going to have this. You got people, you got fans paying all this money to go see players who are not playing. That's going to go against their bottom line as well. So my question to you guys is, how much of effect the 3 Stooges or the 4 Stooges are going to have on the collective bargaining agreement when they sit down at the table? Because you know what's going to happen.
Go ahead, Marcus.
Well, for one, no effect at all. Because I think that sometimes we get a little too caught up in what Barkley and the old school cats are saying about, load management, when in a sense it's really only but a few guys that might sit out every now and then. Like LeBron, as old as he is, if he's sitting out, then 9 times out of 10 he's really hurt. When AD's sitting out, he's hurt. He's hurt. Westbrook, he doesn't cheat the game. He's going to play. He's going to give you 110%. With Ja, he's hurt. If he ain't playing, he's hurt.
Oh yeah.
Clay, when he wasn't playing, he was hurt. Durant, when he's playing, when he's not playing, he's hurt. Only person that you can really say that about as far as load management is Kawhi, and then Kyrie if you want to put him in his own little world. But outside of that, I don't really see him I don't really see people like they're making it be a big deal when it's really not that many players that's really doing load management other than Kawhi Leonard. Like everybody else, they don't cheat you. Luka's still playing. Ja plays when he's healthy. Embiid's playing. Jimmy Butler's playing. Tatum's playing. Brown's playing. You just keep going down the list. Everybody plays. So I don't see that being a big deal, right?
No, I don't think so. And I think the bigger thing is if I'm the billionaire investor, do I want to run my $100 million man into the ground? Like, I don't think owners care much about load management. Now, TV networks, they might have something to say about load management, but unless it's messing up the money, the owner of the team, his goal is to either put butts in the seats or win a championship. So as long as that guy is available for home games as much as possible, but I'd much rather sit him 10 games during the season than him miss 3 games in the playoffs because he's hurt. So that part I don't see. I think the real issue with the CBA is these players forcing trades and finding ways. The owners are trying to find out how to get that power back. And I don't really know what the answer is because they find Ben Simmons, but I mean, that's going to have to go play out in court. But I don't know how much you can do if it's a mental issue, if it's a back, if it's something where they probably should come back, but they don't want to be there if they play themselves out of shape. We've seen James Harden do that. Like, I just don't really know what the course of action is unless you're going to start putting like weight or workout requirements in people's deals. I think we'll be a long lockout. They start trying to do all that.
Yeah, but you know, what the owners do, as you know, when it comes time for a collective bargaining agreement, they're going to try to take away what they can. And they're going to go to the table because they want to, the players want their share, the owners want their share and more. So they're going to have things that they can come at you and say, look, okay, we'll give you this, but this, they're going to want something in return. What are they going to get in return? If what you guys saying status quo, what they're going to go to the table with and what they're going to ask for.
My thing is with that is that they gave the players, in a sense, only from this perspective, too much power as far as if I don't want to play here, I'm just going to sit out and not honor my contract. If you sign a 5-year contract, you should be trying to get out in year 2 or year 3. I'm sorry. I would bitch them and I would fine them every game they don't want to play. And then I would recoup some of my money back, and that's how you get them to stop all that from right here. Because you really can't recruit that back in the sense of trying to take it to court because you signed the contract. But it's actually on the owners too. So when they throw a tantrum, let them throw a tantrum.
Yeah,
let them throw a tantrum.
So let's keep it a buck then. If I'm a player, cool. That's how you want to go about it. Go about it. But if I'm John Wall, I need some money back then. I need something back because you wasted my career. So if you're saying players should be punished because they choose to sit because they don't want to play, there has to be some level of punishment for the owner who refuses to play that veteran and not let him produce his talent, won't trade him when the trade's on the table. Like, if we're negotiating, all right, we can start talking about y'all, but it ain't like y'all didn't sit us down. You sat Andre Drummond down. Y'all have been sitting people down, wasting people's careers because you're trying to develop other talent when I'm clearly a better player.
Right now, what did they do? Now, every person you said they had a clear-cut injury, whether it be mental or physical. What was the reason John Wall is not playing? What was it?
Those situations are different, right? In the sense of because John Wall came off an injury and Houston chose to sit him, but he still got paid. What I'm saying is with the players that's choosing just to sit out because they don't want to play for the team anymore, those are the ones you be like, look, you got this 4 or 5 year deal, you got 3 years left on it, you ain't going nowhere. And I would just bench them and then fine them every game they don't want to play. That's different than what Detroit did to Drummond, what Detroit did to Blake Griffin, and what Houston did to John Wall because they still got their money.
Because you're only talking about money, though.
Right.
I'm talking about I'm healthy to play. So if the team bench me, it's fine. But if I bench me, it's not fine.
Yeah, but that should be some type of punishment too. And
reverse
role. I agree with you on that.
I'm saying. So what's the penalty for the owners?
They should come up with some kind of fine. But if they're still getting paid, as far as players, they still getting paid. Like, what do you do as a?
But you're hurting my earning potential because now the news around the league is John Wall's trash.
Right.
So
I get that.
So after this year, John Wall potentially is going to not get another max deal that he was on pace to get because they won't even let him show his talent.
Now,
so he's potentially going to lose. He's not able to make all-star games, which contracts are structured that if you make all-star games, if you make all NBA, if you make all defense, so he's lost out on all that money.
Right.
He didn't have even a chance to earn that money because they chose to bench him for no reason. So if he has escalators in his deal, they could have cost him hundreds of millions of dollars.
Well, which is true. That's why I agree with you. Now, as far as how do you really punish an owner, for sitting a John Wall after he's cleared of injury, like how do you go about doing that in a sense? And it's up to John Wall himself too, in the sense, be like, I'm healthy, I'm ready to play. Like trade me. Like I ain't see John Wall making no noise. That's the thing.
Getting that 40 million.
Because if you start making noise, then you're a distraction.
That's true. So either way you look at it, it's a lose-lose for John Wall. But how do they punish owners for that? I don't know. But they
now check this out too. Some fellas, Adam Silver got his work cut out, number one. But we all know who pays Adam Silver, right?
The owners. Yeah.
There you go. So who you think he's going to side with?
I give him credit. He's always been since
he's good. He's cool.
He's been cool with the players. So, but no, the players don't pay his salary. So I get it. It sucks in that John Wall situation. It really do suck. But as far as players that's trying to get out of a 5-year contract, no, bench them, sit them, and just let them be fine until they're ready to play. If they're not ready to play, just fine until they contract out. At least you get some of your money back. And then as far as the owners go, I wish there was some type of punishment for them. That way that'll stop that too, because that man is missing out on a lot of money potentially. Because he could have made an all-star game, maybe second team, all NBA. You know. And most players got that in their contract nowadays.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Fair enough. Well, fellas, it's been fun. I got news via social media that Chris was actually at dinner with Freddie. Chris to go to dinner with Freddie.
Who paid?
I don't know who paid. They were laughing and carrying on, having a grand old time.
Really?
Freddie posted the video, and to my shock and amazement, Chris Ballhead Robinson was sitting right there, just laughing it up, just like Chris Paul was.
Oh, shoot.
Well, maybe he met Chris Paul at dinner since, he's been put out the playoffs too.
Oh, shoot.
So I'd be ducking the show too if my favorite player got put out.
For the people at home who are wondering where Chris Robinson was, that was him.
Man. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, man. Come on now.
In HD, Chris Robinson was not here.
Man.
And John, I hear you. It's not about the money. It's about future money. He could have got a second max at his age. He should be in line for that $250, $300 million deal that Giannis is about to sign, that Joker and all of them is about to sign. Mm-hmm. That's where he hurts. And he lost the ability to even earn that. So yes, excuse me, he did make his money, but future earnings were significantly hindered. His Adidas deal, he had a shoe deal that expired. Like there's so many other sponsorships and marketing things he doesn't get because he's not playing. Like it's a lot more than just that contract.
You see, and that's my thing about trying to count people's pockets. Like he actually earned that money that he got when he signed it. And then as far as future earnings goes, yes, he's being like he has no ability to go and get that extra money because Houston is doing them wrong right now.
And they got 2 first-round picks.
John Wall, he still play and make a few All-Star games and probably make a few All-NBA teams because his defense is underrated. Like John Wall could play defense. So
for sure. And to wrap it up, fellas, just real quick, the Warriors have got it all the way back to 2. We have a all game. Dallas shot horribly in the third quarter. I don't have the stats readily available. I got to talk to Freddie, see if he can do a better job of getting us those kind of resources. on the fly. I need a researcher. But the Warriors did outscore them by 12. Dallas scored a total of 13 points in the third. So tough quarter. And it looks like the Warriors have come out and actually taken the lead with a Otto Porter 3 from the corner. The Warriors have regained the lead. So y'all enjoy the game tonight. Enjoy the games this weekend. And we will catch y'all next week where the series, according to Marcus, might be over, depending on who it is. But we'll touch base on that and get into it. And y'all have a great one.
Hey, fellas, can I say one thing? You know, me being a historian that I am, I want to give a big shout out and offer my condolences to the great Bob Lanier, who passed away. I don't know if y'all know about Bob Lanier. I remember him when he was in college. That shows you how old I am. When he was at St. Bonaventure, but I offer my condolences to his family and to the NBA family.
Absolutely. Well said. Well said. You guys have a great one. Way to take us off on a sour note, Con, man.
I'm sorry, man.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
Hold on. Before we go, though, Ray, do
that.
Let me just say this. Patrick Beverly and JJ Redick are probably my new favorite analysts right now.
Don't tell Chris
outside of what we do on ASAP Network. You know.
Absolutely. We need more Pat Bevs. I'm trying my best. And Marcus really be trying. I be trying, but Marcus
I do. You know what I'm saying? I really do.
But yeah, I do look forward. Hopefully they keep them. Well, JJ's on the network, but hopefully Pat Bev continues to get some airtime because he is good entertainment, to say the least. Fellas, it's been a blessing. Con Man, I see you guys back there. Who walking around back there in Con Man house?
That's my lady, man.
Oh man, look at that. She in there spending time with him while he recording. Ain't that so supportive and sweet?
Who you think it was?
Oh man, the legend strikes again. I see you, brother. We ain't gonna keep him no more. She said, "Come on now," so we're gonna let you go. He gave him that look over the shoulder. He know.
Yep.
But y'all have a good one, man. Y'all stay blessed.
You too, man. See y'all next week, man. Stay show, yo.
Whole sports all plays. Yeah. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentations.